Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. It is Matty here from Chill TCG. So today, we're going to be taking a look at an older deck list that, I think deserves to be brought back into the question. That, of course, is Dragapult VMAX. This is a card that dominated the format back in the Rebel Clash format sort of era when that set was coming out. That and Pigrom were definitely the best decks in the format. This was before rotation. However, I do think that Dragapult deserves to come back with the new release of the Urshifus, both Rapid Strike and Single Strike, which is releasing in Battle Styles. Of course, I do think that Dragapult is going to have a very good position in the meta, and it's still, in my opinion, a phenomenal deck. So we're going to be taking a look at a deck list that I have built over the past few weeks. It's probably nothing too crazy. Might not be the best way to play Dragapult when it does sort of come out or sort of appear in the format after Battle Styles releases, but I figured we would build it. Before we get into it, look at this beautiful new ptcgo. I just wanted to showcase this. Looks absolutely phenomenal. I am super excited for Battle Styles once it releases. Okay, so let's go take a look. We're going to take a look at this deck list, talk about it for a few minutes, and we will play some games with it, perhaps. Okay, so this is the list. Now, this is, of course, some people were still playing Dragapult after rotation, with things like Lycanroc GX, maybe Clefable, definitely going an energy denial route, and I do think that energy denial, energy removal, things like Crushing Hammers, definitely very good in the format right now. I think that it's almost needed to, at least right now, before Battle Styles comes out, to have a good shot against things like E-Turn VMAX and ADP and things of the such. So we still are running 4 Crushing Hammers. However, I think that running the Jirachi engine is a much better way to play the deck. When you're playing Crushing Hammers and a lot of one-of cards in the deck like this, obviously, Jirachi makes things much more consistent. Crushing Hammer is always very good, but the capability of Stellar Wishing 2 or 3 times in your first couple turns definitely makes Crushing Hammers much more consistent because you can go and search them out. So for that reason, we're not running any Yell Grunts. Maybe Billowing Fan is a card to implement into the deck once it gets released in Battle Styles. But for right now, I think that Crushing Hammers, works just fine. And of course, we are running 3 Jirachis as our main starting option in the deck, and we're running a 3-3 lineup of Dragapult V and Dragapult VMAX. Everyone kind of knows what Jirachi does. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck, grab a trainer card that you find there. Obviously, very good. We are running the Scoop Up Net engine. That's why we have 4 Scoop Up Nets, as well as 4 Switch cards in the deck. So definitely a pretty consistent deck when it comes to finding the cards that you need. Dragapult V, it's nothing too crazy. Jet Assault for, 2 energies we can switch in and hit for 140. Nothing too crazy, but the VMAX is actually absolutely phenomenal. Now, this guy's got this first attack Shred, so it's actually very good in the Decigoons matchup as well as Altaria. This does 60 damage for 1 energy and disregards all effects on your opponent's active Pokemon, so this means no matter what happens, we're doing 60 damage, which is absolutely phenomenal. In some cases, when you're maybe even playing Luke Metal, we're playing against a defensive deck like, I don't know, what's another one? Colossal could be another one. But for the most part, Decidueye, Altaria, you're just going to be able to hit them for 60 for 1 energy turn after turn. Very good attack. We have a retreat cost of 1, which is good. We are weak to Dark, right? So we're weak to Eternatus. That's really the only Dark deck that sees play right now. But for the most part, with energy denial and the ability to, add some extra damage counters on, due to some cards that are in this deck, which we'll talk about shortly, the matchup shouldn't be that terrible. Plus, when Battle Styles comes out, I think Eternatus will be somewhat in check by the Urshifus. And we do resist fighting as well, so when we do run into those Urshifu decks, we're going to have a distinct advantage, specifically against the Rapid Strike version. So the second attack, though, is the main reason why we play Dragapult for 2 Psychic Energies. We can do Max Phantom, does 130 damage, which doesn't seem like a lot. It really isn't, but we put 5 damage counters on our opponent's bench Pokemon in any way that we would like. Now, this is absolutely phenomenal. This means that we can spread damage here and there. We can put some damage counters on some of these Pokemon on the bench. We can do whatnot. But for the most part, the math works out a lot of times, right? We can put 5 damage counters onto a Crobat. Now it's down to 130 HP. We can boss it up, KO it, and continue spreading damage. We can put 3 damage counters onto Dedenne, spread 2 to something else, maybe like a Zacian or whatever needs the 2 extra damage counters onto it. And we can boss it up, KO it as well. So boss, very important. Gusting, very important. Carlo is sending me a challenge. Sorry, my man. Always during the videos while I'm recording. But the damage spread ability is absolutely phenomenal. The ability to put damage onto any Pokemon that you want throughout the game for a very relatively low energy attack cost. Definitely very good. And like I said, we have plenty of other ways to add damage to sort of boost the damage output that Dragapult could be doing, especially to the active Pokemon. So that is the main attacker in the deck, Dragapult VMAX. Of course, because we are running the Scoop Up Net engine, We are running things like Galarian Zigzagoon. We're just running one of these because, of course, those extra few damage counters can always be the difference. And if we have 4 Scoop Up Nets in the deck, I always suggest that you just run a Galarian Zigzagoon. It's very easily searchable in the deck here with our Pokecoms and our Quick Balls, and can be very good to finish off some math. We do have Giratina as well on top of the Crushing Hammer, so we can put this down, discard Special Energy from our opponent's active Pokemon. Again, this could be replaced with Billowing Fan, but for the most part, I think that Giratina might even be a better option than Billowing Fan because we can Crushing Hammers. We can search for Crushing Hammers, Quick Ball, Giratina, Scoop Up Net, do all this other great stuff. I think this card's going to be extremely viable, especially when the Urshifu cards come out and they're running their special energy. So we are running a Giratina, and I'll just read it here. So Dimension Breach. When you place Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may discard a special energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So that's what that does. And of course, you can scoop it up, replay it, and the effect happens all over again. Now, we do have Mew in the deck. This is mainly here to protect us from things like Cramorant, sniping our Dedennes on the bench, sniping really any of our Pokemon down on the bench. Also helps us with those Tagbolt GXs from Pikarom. It's also going to help us with Rapid Strike Urshifu when that card releases as well, because it does like to do damage to the bench. Yeah, so we're definitely running Mew. I like Mew a lot. It just kind of works in the deck for sure. You're not always going to use it, but can be very useful. And then, of course, we're running 1 Dedenne, 1 Crobat, and 1 Eldegoss. Now, Dedenne and Crobat, because, again, you can use them in the same turn, so you might as well just run one of each. And then we have an Eldegoss just mainly to grab our bosses out of the discard pile. We're only running 3 bosses. We are running a Great Catcher, but, this means that we can oftentimes discard a boss's orders from our hand earlier in the game, maybe with a Quick Ball or whatnot. That's actually to our benefit because it's easily searchable, or Eldegoss is easily searchable as compared to boss's orders. Excuse me, sorry. So yeah, that's the Pokemon lineup in the deck. Very consistent. We used to run things like the old Giratina, I think, from like Lost Thunder, which added more damage counters. Again, like Lycanroc and GX and Clefable, those were cards that were being run in this deck. But for the most part, just max consistently getting Dragapult VMAX off on turn 2, getting the damage out is going to be very, very good. Now we're going to get into the spice of the deck, and these are the things that are a little bit different. And you probably noticed we're going to skip ahead here to this bad boy right here, Giant Bomb. I love Giant Bomb. I still think it's one of the best cards, honestly, best tool cards right now in the format. This reads that if the Pokemon that this card is attached to is your active Pokemon, and it takes 180 more damage from your opponent's attack, even if it's knocked out, you put 10 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Now, you need to realize that most Pokemon right now in the format are hitting you for over 180 damage. It's just what they like to do. Now, if they do, they take 10 damage counters. Of course, they can boss you out, but if they don't have boss, they're either going to take 10 damage counters, or they're not going to be able to attack, and really your opponent cannot afford to do either. So this is going to be extremely good in the late game when they don't have access to boss. We can stamp them with Reset Stamp. We can Marnie them, Giant Bomb. It's just going to put them in really awkward positions at any turn that an extra turn that we can buy, or 10 extra damage counters. It's just going to be the difference with Dragapult. And you could run more than 2 in the deck, but again, we have Jirachi, so they're pretty easily searchable. And I think that 2 works just fine. We're never always going to be using these, but a lot of times when we do use them, we're going to be extremely important. So Giant Bomb is very, very important. Other damage modifications were a little bit out of order. We're running 4 Horror Energies, so if these are attached to your active Pokemon and it gets hit, your opponent takes 2 damage counters. You put 2 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon, and this stacks. So if we have double Horror on our Dragapult, we hit for 130, right? That's 130 damage. They attack us. If we have 2 Horror Energies on, that is another 40, so that's 170, plus Giant Bomb, that's 270, which is enough to KO tag team Pokemon. So this helps our welder matchups a whole lot in the format. Also helps with E-Turn as well. If we're able to attack and spread damage to E-Turn a couple turns, maybe or a couple times, maybe ping it with Zigzagoon a few times, and then get this Horror Energy and Giant Bomb combo out, then we're almost technically one-shotting E-Turn VMAX, which has happened and definitely can happen in the format, or in right now in these games. So definitely super cool. And like I said, we are running 4 Crushing Hammers. It's searchable with Jirachi. We're running 2 Energy Spinners on top of 9 energies, total energies. This is just because Energy Spinner is searchable with Jirachi, so you might as well just run a few of those in the deck. I think that 9 energies is enough. The thing is with Dragapult is you don't want to be in a position where you miss the attachment. It's kind of like E-Turn where you really do want to get that energy attachment turn 1. And for that reason, we are running Energy Spinner to make that a little bit more consistent. We're running in the Great Catcher as well, just so we can maybe Dedenne and then research or Marnie into a gusting option. And Dragapult loves to finish off things like Dedenne on the bench, so, why not run Great Catcher? I think it's a good inclusion. For Pokemon Search, we're running 3 Pokemon Communications, 3 Quick Balls. That's usually enough. Again, all of this stuff is searchable with Jirachi. We're running, a decent variety of different Pokemon in the deck, so Pokecom seems pretty good. I guess you could add another Quick Ball and get rid of the Pokecom, but I think that finding a Dragapult VMAX is honestly the most important thing. And a lot of times we don't want to discard these Pokemon. Like sometimes you don't want to discard Giratina, you don't want to discard Eldegoss or Zigzagoon, so Pokecom just seems to make the most sense. We are running one Reset Stamp as well. This is going to be very good. Like I said, to kind of pressure them, get rid of Boss, make sure they don't have Boss, and then go for the Giant Bomb combo can be absolutely deadly in buying yourself a turn or two. Only one only one Reset Stamp because, again, you can find it with Jirachi. We're running 4 Scoop Up Nets and 4 Switches. This is just because Jirachi is such an important part of the deck, and we like to shuffle in between them, Stellar Wish every turn while still being able to attack with Dragapult. And a lot of times, because Dragapult's retreat cost is 1, we can, if we don't have a Switch card in hand, we can just free retreat out with Dragapult. Stellar Wish, attach the energy, and then Scoop Up Net and go back in. So we're kind of technically losing out on an energy attachment, but we're gaining a Stellar Wish, and that's always an option with Dragapult, which can be very, very useful if you're digging for that last boss or, that last Zigzagoon ping or whatever it might be, which is always a fantastic option. No Air Balloon or anything like that. 4 Scoop Up Nets, 4 Switch seems to be enough for me. I think that Giant Bomb is really the best tool card, in my opinion, that we can be running in this deck. We are running a Tool Scrapper. This is mainly for things like Luke Metal, for decks that like to play a big charm and kind of spoil all our fun. But Tool Scrapper is going to help with that. Metal Goggles hurts because, we cannot put damage counters onto Pokemon that have Metal Goggles attached. So if, we're playing a Luke Metal and they've got their bench Pokemon with goggles, we can knock that off, spread some damage, and that way we can kind of do some chip damage to that Zamazenta, because otherwise we're not able to attack it in the active spot. So that's definitely very important. And a lot of decks are running Big Charm, a lot of tag team decks are running Big Charm, and that's going to mess up our math a little bit and getting our nice 1 or 2 turn KO. So that's why we're running the Tool Scrapper. Overall, definitely seems to be very, very good for sure. We're running 1 Chaotic Swell. I suppose you could run things like Power Plant, which could be good. You could maybe run Wonder Lab in the deck. Viridian's Forest could be good. Training Cord could be good. But I think that Chaotic Swell is mainly good because this deck build is honestly built to do very well against Welder archetypes, because I think that Welder is going to be one of the best archetypes after Battle Styles releases. So for that reason, Chaotic Swell with the Giant Bomb and all the other things in the deck really make the matchup better against some of these Welder decks like Scentiscorch or even Victini when it comes out, or Blounds. So I think that Chaotic Swell is definitely the right choice. For supporter lineup, we're running 3 Boss's Orders, 3 Research, and we're running 4 Marnies. I think that Marnie is probably the most important in a deck like this. When we're running Swell, we're running Hammers, we're running Marnie. It's just disruptive, and in a deck like this that kind of likes to chip slowly at our opponent, Marnie's going to be our best option. So that's our supporter lineup. Nothing too crazy new Yell Grunts. And then, like I said, we have the 4 Horror Energies and the 5 basic Psychic Energies. So that's the deck. I know I kind of took a little bit long to explain it. I apologize for that. You guys might have skipped through. But you know what? For the most part, I wanted to sort of tell you my reasoning behind running some of the cards in this deck. And they're not Shiny Dragapults because, again, I gave away my Shiny Dragapults to the awesome members of the community. So we're just rocking out with normal Dragapults here. Not a big deal. But yeah, that's the deck list. This is Dragapult, guys. We're going to get into some gameplay. We're going to see if we can showcase this deck and what it can do, maybe in some good matchups as well. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the deck list. Let's get into some games and see if we can't win. All right, let's get into it. Let's see if we can't get some busted gameplay with busted Dragapult. Super, super excited. There's a lot of matchups where, this deck honestly performs very well, like above average. Of course, it struggles with Luke Metal in a lot of ways, just like a lot of decks do. And it struggles with E-Turn, mainly just because of the weakness. But those are both winnable matchups, to the point where, if those are the only 2 things that I really struggle with for the most part, then, I'm not too worried. You don't see a lot of Luke Metals on ladder. Personally, our starting hand is pretty busted. And you do see a lot of E-Turns on ladder, but it just kind of gives you more experience with that matchup, right? And like I said, this is mainly a deck list for after rotation, so it's not like the decks that we're playing on ladder right now are not after rotation, after Battle Styles. It's not like any of the decks we're playing right now are going to be Battle Styles decks. Like, when you hop on ladder and everyone's playing Urshifu after Battle Styles comes out, this is going to be a busted pick to grind out some ladder points. We're playing against BZRTO. Burzerto. I really don't know. I'm pretty bad with, pronouncing names like that. And a name like that, I don't know if it's even supposed to be pronounced as, a full name, or if it's supposed to just be... We'll put it on a second pull, too. Why not? Or if it's just supposed to be, some letters, Okay. Okay. Just trying to look here. Just trying to think. So we have Hammer, Switch, and Boss. We don't have a way to switch out technically next turn. We're not going to get attacked, so we're going to Stellar Wish again next turn. So if we grab Switch, that might be the best option. Because again, I don't think Hammers is going to be too important. We're going to grab Switch just because, you know, for future, for next turn, right? We're definitely going to need a way to switch out. Because preferably next turn, we Stellar Wish, we find like a Research or something like that. We can put an Energy on, Calm for the VMAX, switch in, and then Research out our hand. So, you know, I think we're just going to rock with this. Again, he could turn 1 Marnie me. We see a Zacian here, and a lot of times, Zacian decks, there we go. A lot of times Zacian decks play Hammers. As silly as that sounds, we're going to see an Air Balloon on the Zacian here. We are running a Tool Scrapper. We might want to save that for maybe a Big Charm. He puts double Zacian down, so this could just be Turbo, and he's going to Research out, so we're safe from Marnie here. Again, he might be digging for like a Hammer. If this is Turbo Zacian, I hope that he's not running Hammers. He's playing the Scrapper too, which he discarded, which will be nice because Giant Bomb comes in handy very well with Zacian here. Once we attack it for 130, we can attach the Giant Bomb, and then he's kind of forced to either attack and get knocked out, or not attack, and then we knock him out next turn. So that's always a good scenario to be in. He's going to put down... oh, my phone vibrated. He's going to put down the Dedenne, and he's going to Spinner here. I believe he played that Saucer to attach that last energy. We see 2 Waters. So that makes me feel like we might see a GX attack this turn. If he has the E-Switch here, and he does, that's actually kind of busted. So he's getting the turn 1 GX, which doesn't happen a whole lot. So we're not too happy about him getting that first turn GX with ADP here. But you need to realize that, you know, we have plenty of Crushing Hammers on our deck, and I guess he does too. So if he hits this Hammers and we're in a very bad position, that sucks. So not only is he getting turn 1 GX going second, he got a Hammers off on our Dragapult. So possibly worst case scenario, realistically. We do hit our Hammers, though, so that's always good. We're going to Spinner, and I think that we just grab our energy. We can attach it to the Pult here. And you know what? I still think that I want to go into Dragapult VMAX. And I think getting damage off on this thing could be very, very important, right? So I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to Stellar Wish first. We find a Marnie. I think Marnie might be the best play just because I think he has Water Energy in hand. And we could possibly consider like a Scoop Up Net. So that's what we're going to do. We can Marnie into 5 cards, and those could be just terrible 5 cards. Right? Like, realistically. But we're going to take our chances. We're going to pop that Calm here. We're going to grab the VMAX. We're not going to be able to attack for 130 this turn, unfortunately. But we are going to be able to attack with 60, which does honestly help out quite a bit in the long run. So we're just going to Scoop Up. We could have switched and saved the Scoop Up Net from the Marnie, but I think that just doing this is probably best. Again, we could have switched back into Jirachi, but again, I do feel like getting the damage off, getting some damage off on this ADP this turn is worth it. We see another Hammers. We're going to pop this. This one could be huge. That's a head, so he hit us. We hit him twice. So we're just going to rock out with the Shred here. We're going to hit him for 60. He's going to give the smiley face. 3 Hammers already in 2 turns, so you know what? It's pretty fun. If he hits us with another Hammers, okay, then this could be pretty annoying. He definitely has a much more energy acceleration options than I do. So he's going to miss that Hammers, which is very fortunate. He's going to put down a second Air Balloon on his second Zacian, and he's going to get a Spinner. So we did Marnie him into a Spinner, which isn't the best. And he's going to just attach to the Zacian. Like, when he has his GX attack off now, he's going to Primate Wisdom this 1 card in his hand. Hopefully he doesn't just find like a random Research or something. That would not be good for us. It looks like he might just be Intrepid Sorting here. Which is somewhat ideal. He's going to boss us into this Dragapult, which isn't great. That's not great because we would have loved to attack here, so we're going to hope for a nice top deck here. We find Mew, which isn't very good really at all. So I think our best play... Man, this sucks. Again, we need to get damage off, right? So what I think that we do is... He's got 3 cards in his hand, though. Like, is he realistically... The thing is, can we afford to not... If we hit him for 60 this turn... If we hit him for 60, he's at 120. And then he's got 160 HP left. We'd have to ping him 3 times in order to get the one-hit KO, and that's if he doesn't retreat out. So, a bit of a dilemma. We are just going to attach to this Dragapult V. We're going to retreat into this Jirachi. Let's go ahead, pop a Stellar Wish. We do find a Marnie. And I think that'll just be good in general. We can bench the second Jirachi here. I don't want to Marnie him, because again, I don't know what his hand could look like. He's already discarded a lot of cards, right? And I just don't think Marnie's going to really help us that much. Although if I do Marnie, yeah, we're actually going to Marnie, because then I could potentially draw into another way to switch. I should have put down that Zigzagoon realistically. We do not find a way to switch, which is not great for us. But we can pop the Tool Scrapper at least and discard both of these air balloons, which I suppose is going to help us in the long run. So that's our play here. We Martied him into an extra card, but hopefully with his 5-card hand now, he doesn't have a way to really attack this turn. We're going to see a third Crushing Hammers, and that's probably going to be heads. Yeah, of course it is. So missing out on an attachment isn't great. I kind of probably could have kept that in mind here. We're going to see a second ADP, which means he probably just has a research in his hand. So we seem to have Marnied him into quite a good hand here. He's actually just going to Quick Ball. It looks like away the ADP, and he's going to Crobat for 4, maybe even 5. So not super ideal. He's going to Primate a card in his hand that he would like to keep, probably like a boss or something of the such, and he's actually just going to Dedenne out. So he put the Crobat back on the top of his deck, but he discarded his last hammer. So no hammers from here on out. He's down 4. I still have 2 left in my deck. He's going to switch into this Zacian. I think that was a Saucer, so we could potentially see him attack this turn. And he's actually going to research out and go down to 7 cards in his deck already, which is a little bit sketchy. But I think that he's very close to just being able to attack this turn, which puts us in a little bit of an awkward position. Again, he is taking 2 prize cards every time he attacks one of these Jirachis, which just is not good for us. He's going to Quick Ball yet again. I'm not sure if he's just thinning out his deck, per se. It's kind of been a quick match so far, and he's actually just going to Intrepid Sword, so... You know, we don't mind this, right? I mean, like, eventually, like, he's bound to just deck out. Like, and he's got 4 cards in his deck. He's down 3 Switch and 2 Air Balloons, so, like, I feel pretty comfortable just going with the Spinner here. We're going to attach to our VMAX. I am going to pop the Great Catcher, and we're going to discard these 2 cards. We're going to bring up the ADP just because it's going to be the hardest for him to get out. And we're going to go ahead and research, draw a fresh 7 cards. We don't find anything too spectacular off this, to be 100% honest with you. But we can pop a Stellar Wish, and the Giant Bomb is actually huge here. The Giant Bomb is huge because if he switches in and attacks with Zacian, he does take damage. And there's no way, right, for him to discard any of our energy anymore. So getting 60 off on this ADP, even if he does have that switch in hand, considering he might not because, again, he has 6 prize cards still and he's played 3 switch. How many bosses he down? 1, 2. 2 boss. And we haven't played, I want to kind of avoid playing a Dedenne and things like that to give him some easy 3 prizes. So we are just going to scoop up the Jirachi here. We can go into the Dragapult. We're kind of fine with this. Realistically, he's not playing any special energies, so let's just go ahead and discard the Giratina. And what we can do is get our Zigzagoons ready. How many scoop up are we down? We're down 2 scoop up, so technically, it's possible for us to KO this ADP next turn if he doesn't switch out. So this is the play. We are going to attack with Shred, so this is where Giant Bomb really comes in handy, right? Because his only way here to do anything productive is to have Boss, have Energy, and have Switch. Right, if he has those 3 cards, then we are in a tough spot. But since we only have 1 2-prizer down on our bench, then we're not in a terrible position because he's going to have to KO 2, you know, either the V or in the VMAX or the V and 2 single prize Pokemon that we have here. So he's only got 3 cards in deck. I think that we're in a pretty decent position overall. The Giant Bomb, he's definitely very, very good. He did hit his hammers throughout the game, so we really haven't even been able to max Phantom yet. But since he kind of played a little bit too fast, he got a little bit too greedy, we're not in that bad of a position. We can even research out this turn. And, yeah, so that's what I mean. He's kind of forced to pass. I don't even know if he had what he needed here. We do top deck the Scoop Up Net, which is very good, so we're going to put an extra one on the ADP here. Now we just need an extra scoop up, our last scoop up, I believe, in order to complete the KO on this ADP. But doesn't look like we're going to be able to find it, and I still don't want to bench. That's a Tails, unfortunately. I still don't want to. Yeah, man, this is a little bit tough. Do we have Eldegoss in deck? Let's just go ahead and check. We don't, unfortunately. Eldegoss is prize, so we are missing the KO on this ADP here. And I don't think it's worth putting down a 2 prize Pokemon, because that still kind of gives him the chance. So we can just grab the Dragapult, which is fine. And we are just going to go ahead, hit him for the 130. And then we can kind of feel free to just put some damage onto this Zacian here, the one with energies. And again, he still needs Switch. He's got 2 cards in his deck, so I think that we're in a pretty good position. I don't think that he really has what it takes, realistically, to finish off this game on a strong note. He's not going to be able to KO my Dragapult this turn. And I think that if it were him, we're probably going to see a concession from him pretty soon. Unless he still thinks he has an out to the game, which he does realistically, because that Dragapult V is still there. Yeah, so we're gonna see a pass from him, and we top deck the boss's orders. Wow, that's absolutely nasty. And this is very good for us, realistically, because what we can do, let's see, if we put 4 on him, that's 190, which is the perfect threshold. So we're gonna boss up this Zacian, because it's just gonna be the hardest for him to deal with. And now that we can attack for 130 on this thing, we can put 4 on this Zacian, put him to 90 damage, which puts him just in range of the 130 KO. And we can put 1 on this ADP, which is going to be the perfect amount, of course, just to finish him off. And we're going to take 3 prize cards here. We might draw, we might take a Dedenne off the top of the prize cards. There's the VMAX, very good. A Marnie, okay. And again, he only has 2 turns, so we whiff the Eldegoss, which would have been nice to get that boss's orders back. But that's our only one in the discard pile. So realistically, if we had to extend this turn, we possibly could. But I think that I don't know where he goes from here. He only has 1 card in his deck. He definitely did overextend. After getting that turn 1 GX, you really have to dig a little bit deep to get it. It kind of becomes a pacing issue at this point for the ADP player, right? If they discard too much in those first couple rounds, or first couple turns to find, there's the concession, to find the first turn GX, and then it's always just going to be a little bit difficult for him to continue the rest of the game without burning out on his resources. So for there, I think he prized the Switch, and he was just kind of stuck doing whatever we wanted him to do. We're going to go ahead and try to play one more. We're going to play one more. Hopefully I can get a nice match after this one. That one was a kind of a weird example, because it was just the hammers fight, and somebody playing a little bit too aggressive. That guy kind of beat himself, realistically. But you can kind of see how maybe the Giant Bomb could have played in there, and just kind of backed him into a corner. With a deck like that, though, that really does have a lot of boss's orders in their deck, then the Giant Bomb's going to do a little bit less, realistically. We'd like to Marnie him and then play the, bomb him and then Marnie. Or we like to play the Giant Bomb and then maybe stamp him to like a 1 or 2 or a 3 or something of the such, kind of decrease his chances of being able to draw into the boss's orders to counter. This hand isn't too good. It's not terrible, because of course we have Dragapult and we have Energy, but we don't really have a way to get into Jirachi, which is something that we really like to do in our first turn. But we see what we top deck. We top deck a Horror, and we're playing another Zacian deck, which is interesting. So I am going to discard the boss's orders. We'll get to look through our deck a little bit. We prized 2 Jirachis, but we do have 1. We have our Eldegoss. We have all of our Dragapults. Let's see. We don't have Giratina, it seems, which should be fine. I don't think they're playing special energies. We have all 4 hammers, spinners. Yep, comms, quick ball. Yeah, we just played 1. Got our stamp. Yep, we have all our scoop up nets. I think we're down 1 switch, 1 boss, and a Marnie, and then maybe some energies as well. So if we had to grab a Pokemon here, I think that we might want to. The thing is, like, next turn, if he doesn't Marnie us or anything, we can just VMAX and just start rocking out, right? So I think realistically, we want to just grab Jirachi for if, we're forced out or in any situation to do anything like that. He's not going to attack us this turn. If this is ADP yet again, which I think it probably is, we're playing against a couple ADPs this game. Yeah, there's the ADP. We're not in a terrible position because, again, we are just kind of drawing off the top deck, but we're going to be able to attack next turn and get double Horror onto this ADP. So I think as long as we don't bench something like a Crobat or a Dedenne, I think that we're fine because our starting position is pretty good. He plays the Meowth, so perhaps kind of like a turbo ADP variant here, and he does put down the Dedenne, which we don't mind. He's going to discard 2 metal and a boss. I'm sure he's playing Eldegoss in his deck, though, just like we are. But I think that we're honestly in a pretty fine position. So he's going to put down a second Zacian. He's going to Saucer to the Zacian, so I don't know if we're going to see an attachment on the ADP here. But either way, I'm not too worried about what's going on here. This Meowth has 60 HP, so if we were to top deck something progressive in our hand, maybe like our Research or something, again, we don't want to play Crobat. We don't want to play Dedenne because that just kind of gives him sort of the boss KO route. I mean, I guess technically we can play one. We can play one, but then it's a little bit sketchy if we don't find another Dragapult VMAX to set up a second Dragapult, then we still have another 2-prizer down on our bench. But we just really don't want him to get that going. He is benched out right now, so he has no bench space anymore, which we do kind of like to see. We do see a spinner, so he is going to be able to get the water on ADP here. If he has Switch and Energy Switch in hand, then a very ideal start for Phil Nye, the guy here. But we'll see. We'll see if he's got it like that. I mean, I don't know if he would. He's going to Marnie us, so that's not amazing. That's not too great. And this is kind of one of the things that we were hoping didn't happen because we kind of, set ourselves up in a position. Okay, so that's actually totally fine. Totally fine. We're going to see another Saucer onto the Zacian. Do we see the E-Switch? No, he's actually just going to set up. So he actually very well could just KO my Dragapult here, which is looking like exactly what he's probably going to do, which is just absolutely ridiculous to get a Zacian attack off on turn 2. But unfortunately, he whiffs the Switch. Did he discard any in the process? No. So we kind of just got a little bit fortunate here. He did find one, actually, off the Intrepid Sword as well. So that's just absolutely insane. What we could do is switch into Jirachi and just kind of roll the dice with a Stellar Wish. But for the most part, I kind of want to do that just because our hand has nothing going for us. Like, yes, we can attack with Dragapult here, but finding something like a Giant Bomb is just way too enticing to not do it. And this is probably not the safe play, but I think that it's I guess we could wait another turn, right? Because he's not going to KO us either way. And he's not really pressuring with ADP. So, like, next turn, if we had to, we could switch into Jirachi and then Stellar Wish, and that kind of gives us a free turn here to attack. So I think that probably is the best decision, right? We're just going to go ahead and do it. There's no real reason to put damage counters on the Zacian, because, again, we're kind of trying to hope for the Giant Bomb play. And he's probably going to evolve this next turn as well. So I think that really our best play is probably, we're just going to put 3 on the Dedenne, and then, yeah, I guess we'll just put 2 on Zacian there, because those are our biggest threats, I suppose. Again, having Giant Bomb here would just be absolutely stellar, right? Because then it kind of puts him in a dilemma where he doesn't want to attack, and that's the whole plan. That's the whole idea. And then he would be in range of a KO here. So he's going to evolve the Meowth, so pretty glad. If we had a Zigzagoon, then maybe we would have just KO'd it there. But I think unless he gets the GX attack off and gets like Rusted Sword and a Leon, he's not going to be in range to KO the Dragapult VMAX. So, again, he still needs Switch, and he might just have like a Research or another Marnie in hand or something like that. But I think for the most part, we're not in a terrible position. I could have benched to that other Dragapult last turn, but I just didn't want him to like switch in and boss or do something crazy like that. So that's why we didn't do that last turn. Although maybe we should have, so that way maybe this turn we could have searched and found the VMAX. But I think that our top deck right now is going to be super important. I think getting damage off is always probably the best decision. We are going to see a Rusted Sword. He puts it on the active, actually, which is very interesting. And he's actually just going to E-Switch. Okay, so he's going to set up a KO with the active Zacian, which is interesting. I guess he's kind of just electing to... so he's got double E-Switch. So since he doesn't have Switch in hand and he doesn't have any... His last card isn't probably anything progressive. It might be even like a Crobat or Dedenne. He's just going to elect to get 280 off on this Dragapult, which is a lot of damage. But, of course, he is in range of getting KO'd here. And now we have a Swell. So here's the question, right? The question is, do we go into Jirachi and technically risk it? We have all of our Marnies, all of our Researchers. At this point, I'm pretty confident in being able to play like a Dedenne or a Crobat. And he's got one card in hand as well, so I don't know. It could be Boss, right? Like, that card could be Boss's Orders. And because he probably wouldn't, it wouldn't have made sense for him to play it last turn. So this is risky. I mean, I still think we're in a position where we have to KO this turn, which kind of stinks, but at the same time, we're taking 2 prize cards. If he KOs the Dragapult, that's okay, because he hasn't really GX'd, right? So the prize math's fine. I think that, again, we're just forced to go ahead and Zacian, KO the Zacian here. Now, if we put 5 on him, he goes up to 70. So that's 150, and that's a couple Goon Pings away from getting KO'd. So I think that just stacking all of these onto the Zacian is probably the best decision. Since we have all of our scoop up nets, and we have access to Zigzagoon as well still. So we're going to see another Jirachi off the prizes, and there's a... Okay, so, okay. Not the best, but I don't think we really had the... I mean, we could have probably picked an energy maybe out of the prize cards. We're going to see a reset stamp, which is very good. So we're happy about that. We're happy about that. This guy's having a little bit of an unfortunate game so far, I think. Probably. We're going to see a spinner here, so his only card in hand is going to be that water energy, and that's very unfortunate for him. And we're going to see an Intrepid Sword there. So we have boss, so like technically if we were to top deck a quick ball, we could get a KO on this Zacian, right, which would be like insane. But we have a double scoop up net. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, since we have Eldegoss in hand, I do kind of want to just burn this boss, right? Like, I feel like that's probably our best decision. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to just boss up this Dedenne because next turn we can grab boss again. We're going to KO this Dedenne, and then now, I mean, we can put 5 on either of these guys, right? I think that just stacking on Zacian's fine because now he's at 120. He's in range of getting boss KO'd. And I think that we're doing everything that we really need to do right now. He's kind of had an unfortunate start. There's another boss off the prize cards anyway. So I think that we're fine. I don't possibly see how we lose this. Even if he does go into a Zacian, if his Zacian this turn and does get a KO on my Dragapult, I'm pretty confident that we'll be able, we'll go into Jirachi. I think between the Jirachis and the Marnies and stuff in hand, I'm pretty confident that we will be able to find a VMAX and an energy to finish off this game. And even if we don't, we have probably another turn or two to figure that out. Because again, he wasn't able to get the GX attack off. And I think if you're playing ADP and you don't get that GX attack off, you really just don't have a chance. Or at least not a good chance to win this game here. And I also don't know if he's running hammers. Is he running hammers? We haven't seen any, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe, it's kind of like a turbo ADP list, probably not running hammers. Which always hurts, right? I mean, Dragapult's one of those things where you definitely want hammers. He's going to Marnie us, which kind of helps. It's not the best, but like realistically, we don't actually mind that much because our hand is exactly what it needed to be. So we're going to see a great ball here. Even if he KOs this Dragapult, we win the game. So I'm not too worried. He is going to Dedenne out again. And I think that as long as we don't get reset stamped, which I think he already played one. Yeah, so that's going to be the game, I believe. Well, technically no, but technically yes, right? So that's what we're just going to do here. I could, yeah. So that's going to be another concession. Okay. Well, I mean, hopefully that was enough gameplay for you guys. It was both games were against ADP, and they weren't necessarily like the best games to be shown. But hopefully you kind of get an idea about how Dragapult technically, has very good matchups right now still in the format. We didn't play anything like a Luke Metal or an E-Turn. But again, those are archetypes that are probably going to see a little bit less play once Battle Styles comes out. So again, probably not the best gameplay examples that I could have shown you, but I can't be here all night trying to get gameplay with Dragapult. Hopefully that's enough for you guys. I've been Maddie from Chill TCG. Thank you guys so much for watching. Dragapult is coming back. It will be absolutely busted, I promise, after Battle Styles comes out. Maybe Giant Bomb isn't the best way to play it. Maybe not Jirachi Engine, maybe not Hammers, but, in my opinion, this is probably my favorite way to play Dragapult. So, let me know in the comment section below. How do you suggest that you play Dragapult? Do you think that Dragapult will be really good once rotation, or not rotation, I keep saying rotation, once Battle Styles releases? Do you think that'll come back into the format? A lot of people have been saying Mewtwo decks are going to come back and be very good against Urshifu, but Dragapult usually beats Mewtwo decks pretty easily anyway, so I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up the video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Maddie from Chill TCG. Don't forget to play in the Chill Series number 23 tournament tomorrow night. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I cannot wait. It's going to be a great tournament. Definitely go check it out. Link to register will be down in the description below. Also, big shout out to my channel members. You guys are growing every day, and you guys are the reason that we're able to keep these things going. We're going to leave you guys off on the note that when Battle Styles comes out, we actually have a whole agenda, whole schedule planned. We're going to be opening 200 Battle Styles packs on ptcgo. We'll do it live here on YouTube, and then we're also going to be covering some of the best archetypes We're going to be doing deck lists, and we're going to be making videos on all the best new archetypes that will be coming out in Battle Style. So I'm super, super excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been Maddie from Chill TCG, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.